Hello, I hope you're having a great weekend, friends. Brandy Falcon here, and this is day 8 of our 30 days of wellness and connection together. And today I want to follow up with the conversation we had yesterday about what defines good digestion. So we talked about the symptoms of indigestion and other signs that your digestion might be off and why you should care about it, most importantly. So go back to that live, and you'll want to have that background for this talk today. So I want to go a little bit more in depth about gut health, since having a robust gut lining and also plenty of beneficial bacteria in your gut, this is the basis for good health in general and immunity. So that's one of the reasons why we need to care about digestion. Now, this is a huge topic, and that's why I've already written, a few years ago, I wrote a 2-part blog series on gut health. So in the first part, I talk about how gut health is established, how it protects our body, and then how it's damaged. And in the second part, I talk about how to restore gut health if it's damaged. So you'll want to refer back to those blog posts, but I wanted to give you just the bullet points of each of those articles so you're more interested and you could see how important it is, and then you can read about the details in those articles. So first, gut health is easily damaged, and these are the things that can damage it. It starts at birth. So the health of the mother is what becomes of the health of the child. So if the mother has poor gut health when a child is born, most likely they're going to have the same gut population of beneficial bacteria and even the bad bacteria, the pathogenic bacteria. So as babies move down the birth canal, they swallow the flora, the vaginal flora, and so that's how gut health is established. And so they get the good and the bad. But if the mom has a C-section birth, then the child doesn't get any. So just keep that in mind. If you have someone in your life who is having a C-section, or if you are having one yourself, and this is not a judgment of whether you should do it or not. I actually had an emergency C-section, and I knew what this meant. So right after my son was born, I knew I needed to establish his gut flora. Okay, so just know that that is one of the things that damages gut health or prevents you from establishing good gut health, especially with children. The next is stress. So this is huge, right? Because we are exposed to stress every day. It's really long-term stress that we're talking about here that will damage your health. So you could be doing all the right things and still be having issues with your gut. And if that's the case, like if you're having this really healthy diet and avoiding these triggers I'm talking about now, it could be stress that is your issue. So stress. And I'm not going to go into what causes stress because that's also really big, but let me know in the comments if you have any questions about that. Next is a poor diet. So that may mean sugary foods, processed foods, even too many grains can damage the gut lining. So you may have heard of leaky gut. That's when food can leave the gut and go out into the rest of the body and get into the bloodstream and act as this foreign substance that way. That is one of the theories of how food allergies manifest. And then things can come in from the body into the gut as well. So it's gut permeability that we're talking about here. And so that is when, so having too many grains can damage the gut lining and make you more susceptible to that. Also prolonged fasting and overeating. So having the extremes on either side can throw off the population of gut bacteria. I'm not sure about the gut lining, if it affects that at all, but it definitely decreases your gut health. Antibiotics, obviously, many are not that selective. They are just going to kill the certain species of bacteria. Most kill everything. So you can think that if you are taking antibiotics, you are pretty much wiping out your gut flora. I know that may sound negative, but I would like to err on that side if I were to take antibiotics. And so just know that you have to start with square one again about reestablishing that. And then, of course, there's environmental toxins. So pesticides, herbicides, pollution, there's plastics from all around us, right? Also alcohol and GMO foods are thought to make the gut lining more permeable. Also pharmaceutical drugs. All pharmaceutical drugs can damage your gut health and possibly the lining. So keep that in mind. So I cover all of that. There's more details in part 1 of this blog post. And in part 2, the things that reestablish gut health. First of all, when we're talking about, well, first we want to avoid all the triggers that I just talked about as best as you can. And some you can't avoid, so you just know that you, need to reestablish. So any stress relieving activity is going to help you. So you definitely, that's another reason to prioritize reducing your stress every day. So at the end of each day, make sure you're going to sleep feeling relieved. So no tension in the body. You are at peace with the way the day went. You're not carrying stress over into the next day. So please, please, please consider that. And I have so much information about stress. We just did a stress less challenge last month. So you can look back on all that information, especially if you're watching this in the Facebook group. If you're watching it on Instagram or YouTube, reach out to me and I'll connect you with that, because I do also have that on Teachable now as a course, a free course in itself. So stress relieving activities, yoga, meditation, Qigong are great things to include, also massage and other things like that. So that's all in that course. So you can also bring in more fermented foods and drinks. So this is going to reestablish the beneficial bacteria in the gut. And you could also, of course, get these beneficial bacteria from probiotics. But it's good to eat the right foods too. So I wouldn't just rely on popping pills, even though probiotics are often needed to really establish gut health. Try having fermented foods in your diet too, because remember, this is something you need to be working on constantly. So you can be taking probiotics constantly, but it's a better idea, I think, to try to have at least 2 fermented foods a day, or ideally at every meal. So that can be a kombucha drink, sauerkraut, other pickled fruits and vegetables, tempeh, sourdough bread. Again, not too many grains though, but if you are going to have them, then having them fermented is the easiest way for you to digest them, and then they're adding to your gut health. What else? So bone broth. Bone broth and gelatin, which is a component of bone broth, are really, really nourishing for the gut lining and also support the increase of beneficial bacteria population in the gut. So definitely have bone broth in your diet. And if you are having issues with your diet, if you are suspecting that you may have a food allergy that is contributing to indigestion, you can go, what I always suggest is an elimination diet where you remove all the most popular triggers for about 2 weeks. And then one by one, you reintroduce them and look for symptoms. So again, quite often it's some type of indigestion that you will experience. And that could be on the skin too, a skin reaction. So an elimination diet is great. And that just tells you what foods to avoid. But remember that a food allergy can be about a leaky gut. So you still need to work on fixing that. And the GAPS diet, that's gut and psychology syndrome, and also the SCD diet, which is the specific carbohydrate diet, those are both focused on gut health. So it's not only removing these potentially harming foods in your system, but also reestablishing the gut lining and offering protection for your gut. So definitely check those out. And then, of course, there are many herbs that you can take to help you digest, both Western and Eastern herbs. And then finally, essential oils can also help with your gut health and with digestion as well. So that's where I want to leave you, because tomorrow I want to talk more about essential oils that can help you digest more easily. So I will put the blog posts in the comments below. Those of you on Facebook and YouTube, Instagram, I'll put them in my bio and you could check them out. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you again tomorrow. Take care.